Hi, everyone. This is Vicki Harrell, Executive Director of SWPP, and welcome to our webinar today with Assembled. We're going to be talking about future-proofing your WFM stack and what your requirements you're going to need for the next decade. We have two great presenters with us today, Sean McCormick from Call Design and Cam Pulliam from Assembled. And they're going to be presenting some wonderful information today. And we're going to be interacting with them today using the chat. It's on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. You'll see a little chat bubble. If you'll click on that and make sure you're sending your chat to everyone at the top. And let's type in there just a little something to make sure everybody can find the chat. And tell me where you're listening from and how many agents you have in the chat. I'm listening from Nashville today, and I think Sean is here with me in Nashville.
Very much so.
And Cam, where are you
I'm
today?
in Tampa Bay, Florida right now.
All right. Well, I think Cam wins the warmer award. Sean and I are pretty cold today.
Yeah, 5 degrees in Boston this morning.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Push is from Warsaw, Poland.
Wow.
And if you want to throw in there how many agents you have, that'd be great. We got people from Germany, Panama. All right. I bet those people out in Arizona are warm too. At least I hope so. Oh, we're in Belgium as well. Margarita, you're in Memphis, aren't you? Manila? Okay. We got people all over the place today. All right, so once we finish this webinar, it will be recorded and I will send out the recording to everyone who registered. So if you'd like to share that with someone else in your organization that maybe wasn't able to attend today, or maybe there's something you want to check out again, you'll be able to have that recording. And I'm going to go ahead now and turn it over to Cam and let him get started. Cam, thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, Vicki, thank you so much. And everyone, very nice to meet you and glad to be here today. I know Vicki did some quick introductions, but maybe to add a little bit to that, my name's Cameron Pulliam. I'm an account executive at Assembled. I really work closely with some of the most forward-thinking operational and workforce teams in the world, really passionate about helping them solve, problems that are operationally complex and helping them scale their teams with confidence. And kind of the intersection of those things and what we're going to be discussing today is a topic that comes up constantly in my conversations with workforce managers and workforce leaders in general. And joining us today as well, as Vicki mentioned, is Sean McCormick. Really don't think Sean needs an intro into the WFM space, but I will do my best shot at it here. He's currently the Chief Innovation Officer at Call Design North America. Sean has years of experience driving WFM, WEM strategy, really brings a unique perspective, I think, from where the industry's been, but also more importantly, where it's going. I know personally, I met Sean about a year ago now at SWPP Nashville 2025. And since then, he's been a wealth of information, wealth of knowledge to me and some of my teammates in this space. And truly, I think if there's a WFM challenge out there, Sean's probably solved it, designed a solution for it, or is currently building one that will. So very happy to have Sean with us here today. And we'll be sharing some real world insights, trends we're seeing in the market, and key capabilities we think you'll need to build a resilient, hopefully efficient and scalable workforce tech ecosystem. And as for the agenda, we're going to be covering a few main topics. So one, you can see kind of the state of customer support, understanding where we're at so we can know where we're going. From there, we're going to talk about kind of what's next. What could the contact center of 2030 look like? We're also going to talk about how do you get to that point in 2030. So what requirements you'll be looking for to future-proof yourself. How do you know where you're currently at with a self-assessment type of framework? And then also some examples of what future-ready could look like. So yeah, let's talk about kind of the current state of customer support. And again, we're going to jump in kind of the way back machine, take a quick step back, and talk about how contact centers have evolved over time. So through the 1980s, we really saw the emergence of call centers, usually voice only, usually fairly basic routing. Into the 90s, we get our first taste of real, probably early leanings of automation with things such as IVRs, early deflection strategies, things like that. Then we get into the 2000s and then the 2010s, where I really start stepping into this world which brought multi-channel support, omni-channel type support. But most importantly, I think in this time frame is really kind of the shift to cloud deployments. And just to add a quick kind of personal note here, do want to really highlight, this is my opinion, as we're talking about being future ready and talking about having kind of a modern WFM system, I think that most serious modern WFM providers are not going to be positioning an on-prem solution anymore. Again, big caveat, flashing red, this is my opinion, but cloud native is really the path forward. And if you're planning to take full advantage of all this change that's going to be happening with AI and all it has to offer, being in the cloud, I don't think it's a preference anymore. I think it's more of a requirement. Caveat that by saying, unless you have a very specific, highly regulated use case that demands you be on-prem, I wouldn't even recommend entertaining it as an option for your next solution, especially when you're thinking about being future ready. I really think that, again, to take full advantage of especially LLMs and things like that, you're going to need a cloud-based WFM solution. It's the only way to tap into the real-time learning, smart automation, and AI that keeps kind of getting better. I do want to be fair. There are certain enterprise options for using AI in on-prem environments, but they really require heavy lifting. So I guess the end point here is if you want scalable, low latency type of access to the latest AI capabilities, and we all know how fast that's changing, cloud native WFM is the way to go. I think it's the practical path. Okay, so with that, off my soapbox and back to regular scheduled programming. We fast forward to the 2020s, right? We've seen a slow but steady digital transformation, and AI is starting to enter the conversation. And most orgs and most people I talk to, though, it's still in the early days. Like you'll see some individuals using some agentic AI, interacting with customers, using some co-pilot technology, having AI really baked into the WFM platform itself. But still, again, early days. So that brings us to today, which is really an inflection point. Again, opinion of mine, I think the next decade is going to see more operational change than we've seen in the last 3 decades combined. And that is, again, because of the introduction of AI. I don't think the question is like, will it change? It's just they are, and how ready are you for it? And is your tech stack ready to change with it? It's important to me because the rate of change isn't just accelerating, it's really compounding. AI is learning from itself with each interaction, each iteration. It allows it to improve exponentially faster than we're used to. So I think that's where that speed of change is coming from. And the way I look at it is like, when a human, learns and iterates, it needs weeks, or we need weeks or months to like master a new skill. So you kind of look at a learning curve going up and to the right. Like AI's learning curve is almost a straight vertical climb. Like that's how fast it is compared to how we operate, just to try to give you an idea to wrap your head around it there. So it gets better faster, which means your tools, your teams, your processes, they all need to be built to adapt just as fast. Isn't really a warning. I don't like warnings. I don't like scare tactics. I think Sean and I both, I can speak for Sean, are looking this as like an opportunity, the webinar as a learning opportunity, just to make sure that you're prepared, get you a little bit ahead of the curve, be in a position to easily take advantage of all the great advancements that we're really seeing kind of on the horizon out there. Yeah. And one thing I forgot to mention, we'll be monitoring the chat. I see some questions going through. So as we see questions pop up, we'll try to answer them live. If we do not get to your question, we'll definitely make sure we follow up async via email. But with that, I'm actually going to kick it over to Sean, and we're going to talk about kind of what 2030 looks like, what's actually coming, what can we do about it. And Sean, over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Cam. Cam is really right about the fact that the change is happening faster than ever before, and the fact that this is could be a scary thing, or it could be a great opportunity for everyone on this call. And we're going to talk about what's coming and exactly how you could take advantage of it, and how that could be something that you really use to further your career. But some of the big seismic shifts that are coming to contact centers that are going to trigger this, we have a list here, and we're going to dig deeper into those. AI as a top tier agent, channel proliferation, and predictive operations. Now, I think everybody on this call probably knows what a top tier agent is. AI is a top tier agent. Let's dig a little deeper into that. Top tier agent as in someone who is high performing both quantitatively and qualitatively. So their metrics are great, their problem-solving skills and communication skills are great. And we're looking at a world in which AI can become that top-tier agent and handle more than just, I mean, it's going to handle a lot of the very easy calls that we used to get, but also handling some of the more difficult ones. Gartner estimates that 80% of support volume will be handled without humans by 2029. And you're saying to yourself, where does this leave the WFM team? And it leaves you in a really good position because WFM could be used to forecast, schedule, and optimize, not just for the humans that we're used to, but also for those AI agents, those top tier and simple question tier one type of AI agents. So one of the great things about a modern AI forward type of WFM solution is the fact that it could blend the workforce intelligence, the human expertise, and the AI efficiency and let you coordinate all of those different working, moving parts from one place. So you're looking at something that can build schedules intelligently, use live performance capacity data for both humans and for AI, and make smarter, faster decisions with the full visibility into every interaction, not just the ones that we're accustomed to with our human beings. So a lot of really good possibilities there. And second type of seismic shift that's coming, channel proliferation. Say that 3 times fast. You know, we've got new channels that are coming up constantly, and there back in the day when we only had to worry about calls, things were much more straightforward. But then we started to have email, and then we started to have chat. And no matter how many times people say, oh, it's the death of voice, we've still got voice, and some people that still want to do voice. But really, customer expectations are such that customers want to meet you and interact with you on the channel of their choice whenever they want. And if they have to move from one channel to another, they want a seamless transition. So what you really want to think about is, can your WFM solution handle and forecast for those new types of channels and the unique challenges that come with them? And are you going to have AI agents that can natively handle all of those different channels and do that seamless transition that people really want? So you want that personalization at scale, that ability to meet people where they want to be, and they don't have to repeat themselves over and over again as they move from channel to channel. And because of that, WFM is going to have to handle 15 plus channels as easily as it handles our three traditional ones today. So you're going to want something that can ensure that constant brand voice, that constant high level of customer experience throughout that entire customer journey. Another, and number 3 in our big seismic shifts, the need to do predictive operations. So not just reactive staffing, but predictive capacity planning. So a lot of contact centers still operate in a kind of a reactive staffing model where you build schedules week to week or even day to day if you're, and some people not less often than week to week. But you're basing them on short-term forecasts and capacity decisions that are made after service levels slip, after queues spike, or attrition creates some kind of gap in your staffing. So this kind of approach can feel responsive, but it keeps the operation in a constant tactical scramble. So if you do predictive capacity planning that we're referring to here, by contrast, you're really shifting the organization from a firefighting to foresight. So providing a long-range, data-driven understanding of your future staffing needs and doing that kind of capacity planning according to that. But having said that, let's, at the macro level, let's look at the micro. So automated intraday management, getting that kind of real-time feedback, and using AI to keep track of forecast versus actual performance, identifying deviations, and having that clearly expressed in a really easy to use and clear UI, like an example of which we're seeing right here. As Cam pointed out, looking to have that continuous learning and optimization and learning from these different events that come up and having a system that's smart and can keep track of those things and adapt and evolve. And really a WFM system that is looking to ingest more than just the kind of the traditional contact volumes that we're or ticket volumes that we're really used to. All of these different interactions that we're having now, the voice, trying the chat, escalating to a follow-up email, all kinds of things like that, they're each uh, generating data signals, and you're really going to want to be able to take in all of those data signals, not just historical volumes, in order to predict future workload patterns across your different channels. So having said that, I'm going to throw it back over to Kim to talk about some of these ways that you can, the AI orchestration that we were referring to.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Sean.
Yeah.
And again, this is exactly, I think, where modern WFM tools come in. I can speak specifically for Assembled. We built a platform designed to manage kind of your in-house teams, your BPOs, and your agents all in one place. And I think any modern tool should be doing this, or at minimum driving towards this. As AI becomes a bigger part of the CX landscape, it's critical to have a platform that just doesn't support automation, but actually connects your AI strategy with kind of their real-time WFM strategy as well. And that, I think, is the critical part where you can start capturing ROI. It's by intelligently, I think that's the key word, balancing kind of where AI fits in and how it works alongside human staffing decisions. And I do think it's important to make a distinction here. Some of what Sean is talking about is really kind of how AI is being incorporated into the WFM platform and how it's helping you run smarter operations. And then there's the other side of it too, where you have like customer facing type of AI, whether that's fully agentic solutions operating on a channel specific basis, fully resolving or at least doing intake from customers. And then also when you think about Copilot technology, like something sitting beside an agent, helping them work smarter, better, faster. But we've always believed that workforce managers are the tip of the spear, making sure, again, something we've all heard, that the right agents are in the right place at the right time. I think that in many ways, deploying AI is just a natural extension of that same mission. It is a place where you as WFM experts and leaders can step in and make a huge contribution to your organizations. But to do that well, you're going to need tools that give you full visibility across internal resources, external partners, and your AI powered agents all in one place. We don't want you to just kind of have that seat at the table. We want you to step in and be able to lead those conversations. And I think with this type of visibility, you will be able to. I do see a question from Matt in the chat asking, curious which WFM tools platforms are investing in AI and are focused on automation to help agents do their task easier. So I think, Matt, I'm not sure, Sean, if you have any input here, but from a WFM standpoint, most of the larger WFM providers, I think, are incorporating WFM into their platform in some way, shape, or form. I think every WFM provider is probably taking on a little bit different flavor of how they are planning on doing that. And then the flip side of it would be when you talk about helping agents and do tasks easier and faster. I look at that as like what we call Copilot type technology or agent assistance. I can speak. Assembled does that type of work. I know a provider called Decagon, DECAGON does that. I believe Sierra does a little bit of that. You can configure Agentforce in a way that it does that if you're in the Salesforce ecosystem. So there are a lot of different providers out there. I would just encourage you, use that Copilot or agent assistance keywords, and you should see a lot of providers popping up there.
We're going to have some really handy checklists of questions you want to ask of any given WFM provider to make sure that they're addressing these kinds of things and they're very future focused.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks. And then as we start looking at like what a day in the life of somebody in 2030, using these types of tools, what could that look like? And I do want to make the important distinction here that I see some individuals doing these things today. They have this in place with their current tooling. Some of these are a little bit more future looking and might not be in place today. But just to give you an idea, you're logging in for your day. It's 8 a.m. You're pouring your first cup of coffee and you're jumping into, your system. And you're seeing that, oh man, our backlog doesn't look as bad as it would have 10 years ago. And that's because you actually have AI agents, agentic agents, taking volition and handling fully cases, tickets for you. Like Sean mentioned earlier, current state today, I see this happening with some customers, but they're usually tier one, maybe some tier two type of tickets that are being handled. Call those low hanging fruit. The repetitive tasks that you see a lot. Think things like log out, log in, log out issues. Think about password resets. And AI is getting to the point now where you can start building what we're calling agentic workflows. So they're connecting out to different systems and actually updating Salesforce, updating Zendesk for you. They're also taking action in your system of record for your customers. So actually using APIs to do all of those things. That's available today. And we're really seeing that starting to come into play. Next step is some of that predictive behavior that Sean talked about and being able to react in real time. The WFM tool is looking at product releases because it connected out to marketing system. It's looking at social sentiment, what's happening on the greater internet right now, on social media, all these types of things, because it's going to have access to that and how it can update your staffing projections and forecasts based on those things. Not only are we looking at, hey, let's update the forecast, but then it's going to move into, let's start moving our people around to make sure we're covering these gaps that we're now realizing from this real-time update. It also could be deploying AI agents at those types of things as well, which you're seeing at the 2 p.m. block. Right now, we're seeing AI agents obviously being able to fully handle conversations, some types of conversations with customers. But a big use case that a lot of people aren't talking about is using AI to do intake, or maybe doing it as a smarter IVR. We've had some customers at Assembled say, hey, we're actually cutting down massively on transfers because using an LLM-based model over a basic IVR is getting people to the right place the first time, and they're not kind of, I call it rage clicking like two, just to get through the IVR, and they wind up somewhere they're not supposed to be. So using these agentic tools in that way as well, doing real life intake, confirming customer details, and handing over to an agent seamlessly in real time where there's no lag there. That's something that we're seeing today. And then last but not least, as you're wrapping up your day, the WFM system is using AI to do those same things it did first thing in the morning, where it's gathering context. It's escalating, issues to humans. It is also rebalancing your forecast, moving into the evening hours or into the early morning. So this is just an example of really what 2030 could look like. And the realities, though, are that like legacy WFM systems, at least in current state, I'll caveat the statement with that, do not seem ready for this type of change that is to happen. You can see a lot of kind of X's on the left, check marks on the right. They're really kind of the yin and yang, one side of the coin versus the other. The thing I really want to draw your attention to here is that last point on the bottom right, cloud native API first architecture. I know you heard me talk about cloud native earlier, so I won't belabor that point, but doing a little bit more on the API first architecture side. This is very important. When I'm having conversations with workforce management leaders, I would be willing to bet that 90+% of the frustration they express out of the gate is the fact that they do not have tools that can connect to other tools that they want to use. At a very simple level, think about something like, hey, you're deploying a new social media management tool. You're trying to connect that into your WFM system at a basic level just to get like volume data to be able to forecast in your tool, and then have real time data flowing in to be able to understand what's happening there. You can't connect it to your WFM system because there's not a modern API that you could use to connect that tool. That's like one side, very basic, I guess, like today use case. When you fast forward a couple years, it's going to be the idea of like you have agentic AI tools in place and you're not being able to connect those out to your WFM platform to understand how they're helping your customers, what types of cases or tickets they're working on, how are they performing, what is my AI CSAT compared to my humans, my internal agent CSAT. All that becomes even more important as we move forward, and it all kind of ties back into this API first architecture and having the ability to just pick best of breed tools and have them connect and work seamlessly with each other. And from here, we're really going to move into talking about some of the things that we've heard circulating at conferences, webinars, conversations with CX leaders that we might not necessarily think to be true. And for this, I'm going to go ahead and pass it back over to Sean.
Okay, thanks. We just got a really good question in the chat from Sophia, talking about if AI is doing the work, who's guiding it, what kind of training and education are needed, that kind of thing. And, let's talk about that. Myth number one. This idea that AI is going to eliminate the need for WFM. It's all going to be automatically done and just fall from the sky and land in our laps. Beautiful schedules, beautiful forecasts. And anybody that's been in the trenches will know that that is just not going to happen. WFM is an art and a science, and while humans can handle the science, AI can really handle the science, but not the art. And while AI excels at processing data, spotting patterns, predicting outcomes, that kind of thing, um, WFM is not just task execution. WFM is a discipline. It is a strategic business function that is responsible for long-term forecasting, for capacity planning, for coordination with other teams, explaining the need for certain schedules and changes and dealing with change management, so much. These kinds of things that WFM is really crucial for require lots of cross-functional alignment and financial decision making and human judgment. And these are the things that we still excel at over AI. And this is the kind of education and sharpening of skills that you want to really dig into, because that's the thing that's going to keep the WFM team, is to say, what can we do that the AI cannot? Let's get really good at that. AI can do the math, but the WFM team understands people. Okay. And the thing about making WFM even more critical, it really touches on some of the things that Cam was talking about there. WFM that can handle the AI agents can be the place where all of that gets coordinated, where the ROI for the AI agents is really determined, and the way to deploy both the humans and the AI in the most effective way. So there's a huge value in being able to say, these are the areas where automation will be beneficial based on handle times, metrics, and all of those things. But as a WFM professional, you should co-own the AI deployment. You should have a seat at that table, and a good seat at that table. And there are so many things, not just ethical, not just warm and fuzzy, but also really number-based and money-based, that really prove that out. Let's take a look at myth number two. Okay, we'll just upgrade our current system. We'll bolt on some AI to it. We'll just add some AI stuff to it. The thing about it is, if you do that, you still have the operational pain of the legacy system. AI can decorate it, and that's nice, but the foundation, the legacy foundation, is still there. So if you've got AI features that are added as separate modules, not natively designed, that's a problem, because you're not modernizing the underlying architecture. That's going to limit what AI can do. AI is not just an accessory. It should be part of the foundational, the whole foundational guts behind your WFM system in order to be completely efficient. Adding the AI to a current system or upgrading can still take weeks, months to do migration projects, to do upgrade projects. And also remember that it doesn't solve your core data connectivity issues. AI modules in a legacy system can create fragmentation, not intelligence. So you don't want to end up with separate data repositories, inconsistent logic in between the AI and the WFM module. And not to mention the fact, as Cam pointed out, the industry is transforming so fast that a legacy system is very hard to keep up with those kinds of releases and upgrades. So that employee and channel complexity and employee flexibility demands are growing exponentially, and you want to be able to keep up with it. Our last myth, myth number three, is our vendor promised and they're working on it. They promise they're working on it. And we hear this a lot where people are selling on the roadmap. And you can have legacy vendors that have community forums where they crowdsource ideas and say, oh, yeah, that's on the roadmap. We're going to get to it. But if there's no transparency as to what they're actually providing, what they're committed to, and what they're actually delivering, you never know when or if these things are going to come to fruition. So when you're looking at a roadmap, you want to test them on deliverability, innovation speed, and have a look at last year's roadmap or years past roadmap to see what was promised and what was actually delivered. And that'll give you a better idea of whether they say we're working on it and it's on the roadmap, what does that actually mean as far as deliverability? So you want to verify that and verify their track record. So yeah, this is one of those things about multi-year contracts. If they promise lower costs up front, that's great. But if you're in a legacy multi-year contract, you're going to have to think about, are you going to get that velocity of new features and that evolution at the speed at which the industry demands, right? So I think that we also want to kind of poll everybody about where the contact center is today. So I'm going to throw back over to Cam for the poll.
Perfect. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
And everybody knows I was very upfront, hopefully at the beginning. I'm on the sales side at Assembled. So maybe I can put on that hat a little bit more for you. One very easy and practical way to do it, Sean, is telling you to do on this roadmap piece is just ask your salesperson to say, can you bring in your head of product? Can you bring in one of your product managers? I want them to walk me through the roadmap, really be able to understand what that part of their organization looks like, because I can tell you from my experience, if they have those individuals that are willing to jump on calls, that is a very good indicator that if they're willing to jump on a call with a prospective customer, they're also jumping on calls with current customers and listening to their feedback and taking it into their roadmap considerations. And they're very thoughtful about how they build. So just a little, hopefully something you can use as you enter into any evaluations you might be going into the future. But like Sean said, we're jumping into a poll real quick. And it is going to be, where's your contact center at today? You can see multiple choice here, A, B, C, and D. If you can just drop that into the chat for us, we would love to see your answer here. So A is going to be using AI for simple automations, think things like IVRs and simple bots. B is going to be agents are handling complex conversations end to end. C is going to be piloting AI, but you might be struggling a little bit to know how to measure that ROI. And last but not least, you are still evaluating AI strategy. Seeing a lot of answers coming through here. Just a quick scan. I'm seeing a lot of A and a lot of D. And that seems to be pretty common with what I hear in the industry. A lot of individuals looking to take that next step, going from A to D, which would be evaluating, hey, how do I get to more of a agentic or LLM based model as opposed to kind of this classic RAG based that we're used to. Perfect. So moving on to our next piece, we're going to jump into chat about kind of the 5 non-negotiable requirements for modern WFM.
Yeah.
So take it away, Sean.
Oh, thanks. I think this dovetails beautifully into some of the answers that we're seeing from the poll, because I think that what holds people back is change is always uncertain. It can be scary. Lots of AI doomers out there saying that it's going to steal everyone's job, and you're thinking, am I going to help? You may be thinking, am I going to help implement this AI that's just going to replace me? But knowledge is the opposite of fear. And arming yourself with the knowledge that asks the right questions to make yourself an expert in this, and to keep your eye on where human interaction, human intuition, the things that humans do, and how critical that can be to this role and this whole process is going to really stand you in good stead. Let's take a look at these non-negotiable requirements that you want to keep in mind. Can the WFM solution that you have now or are looking at for the future, can it forecast and schedule your AI resources and humans as one unified team, right? Can you make changes? Can you do what if scenarios? Can you see the cost of taking no action, the cost of doing action A, action B, moving people here, moving people there? You really want to have something that can look at AI agents as schedulable resources. You want to track that AI agent capacity, performance, and the shifts it's working, just like human agents. You can model how AI handles volume when you route to humans. You can optimize the cost and speed across your entire workforce, not just the humans, right? And to make real-time decisions deploying those AI agents. Or do you hire more people? Do you move people around? Do you optimize breaks? All those different things that you're accustomed to doing, but you've got that extra AI factor in there, and you want a solution that can do that real-time routing logic. You can do that scenario planning for automation potential. And a lot of legacy systems are really just built to schedule people, not intelligently orchestrate AI and human expertise. Crucial question, non-negotiable question number two, requirement number two. Can the system do true omni-channel intelligence, not just multi-channel reporting, but real unified orchestration? Can you move agents across channels in real time based on demand? Can you forecast cross-channel patterns like social to chat to phone escalations? Do you have a single pane of glass for the capacity planning across all of those touch points? Yeah. And do you have channel agnostic agent scheduling? So looking at all of the different things, what to look for there, this is something that is different than what a lot of us are used to, because we might be used to older systems that were really architected for calls, but then we bolted on email and we bolted on chat, things like that. And is that purpose built with logic for those unique needs, for those different kinds of channels? And can it really give you a full picture of everything that's going on across all of those different omni-channel types of situations? So in this new world of working with AI orchestration, you want to make sure that the AI agents are inherently omni-channel, and doing so in a way that enables human agents to be omni-channel too. Unified capacity planning across all channels, and routing logic based on real-time staffing and AI performance. Requirement number three, real-time adaptive intelligence. So being able to move from rigid scheduling to continuous optimization, intraday adjustments that happen automatically, not manually, system that ingests real-time signals like sentiment spikes, like product issues, like any kind of actions from your competitors, weather events, things that are not traditional forecasting inputs, but that really have an impact on some of us more than others. Weather hits, and you're in the travel industry, and all kinds of things happen. You need to be able to take that in, have a system that learns and improves the forecast accuracy, and then can give you proactive alerts. Spike detected, recommend move 3 agents from voice to chat, that kind of things. And not a system that is really stuck with the set it and forget it weekly, monthly, or heaven forbid, quarterly schedules. Requirement number 4, an extensible architecture. So a modern API first kind of design. You want to have those REST APIs, those webhooks, and not have to depend on old school CSV imports or ASCII text reports, things like that. Something that works with your CRM, your help desk, the AI platform, the phone system, something that can touch on all of those things seamlessly. And it can add, it's extensible, so it can add new channels as they come online in your organization. So instead of having data syncing issues that make it difficult to trust your numbers, and having one system that says one thing and another that says another, you want to have something that can grow and evolve on the fly with you, with kinds of one-click integrations to some of the big the big systems out there like Salesforce, like Five9, like Twilio, like Zendesk, all the different things, so that as you add new things and add new channels, your WFM system is right there with you. And then requirement number 5, home stretch here, speed to value. So deploy in weeks, not quarters, and have that kind of ROI coming uh, much sooner than having to wait for things to sharpen up, to a system to learn what you're doing, and to have it start delivering that value. So a cloud native solution with no hardware to provision, as Cam was talking about, on-prem types of solutions, onboarding in days, not months, self-service admin tools, changes that don't require you having to contact a account manager at the vendor, and regular product updates that come very fast with high velocity, not once a year. Really, a modern system gets you 95% of the way there out of the box. And it is something that Assembled has seen with 2-week implementations, 4-week implementations, and an intuitive AI without admin certification required. So lots of pluses here and lots of things that you need to look at as far as evaluating your current or your possible future WFM solution. Back to Cam.
Perfect. Thanks, John. And we actually have another poll coming your way. So as we're talking about these requirements, would love to know where everyone thinks like their biggest gap might be at today. So just like last time, would love you to drop your answers in the chat. And if you happen to be one of the lucky few that get to select F, I would love to chat with you and learn a thing or two about how you did it. So yeah, we'll just wait for some of those answers to start flowing in and get a good pulse on where everybody's at today. Seeing a lot of B's. And candidly, I've been in the WFM industry specifically for about 4 to 5 years, and omnichannel was the big thing that everyone was talking about then. And it's funny how much it is still one of the big things that everybody's talking about now. I think having a WFM platform that truly can accommodate an omnichannel type of setup and how to execute that still seems to be a big problem that a lot of individuals are working through.
Omnichannels was like the weather. Everybody complained about it, but nobody did anything about it. But that's the great thing about modern solutions is now they can. So there you go.
Perfect. Well, I still see a couple trickling in, but I think for sake of time, we're going to go ahead and move on. And now we're going to talk about assessing your current WFM platform. So we've talked a lot about being ready for the modern. This doesn't necessarily mean that you're on the wrong platform right now, but we do think that you should be taking a deeper look into it to make sure, just give them a gut check to make sure that they are the platform, not only for today, but you can grow with them and you're future-proofing yourself. So I'm going to kick it back over to Sean again to talk about that.
Awesome. Your WFM solution needs evaluation if any of these different things, you could, if you can say 3 or more of these things is a good rule of thumb, that evaluations to start very soon. So look at things like, does your WFM vendor have AI orchestration, at least on their roadmap? Changes or new integrations, are they one click or do they require lots of professional services? What's the implementation like? Your team spends more time fighting the system than optimizing operations. Aaron is saying this slide is hitting her in the feels. So data syncing issues, par for the course. So one system says AHT is one thing, your WFM says it's something else, and you have to dig in and start fighting with who is right. Are you still using spreadsheets because you don't trust the forecasting tools in your WFM system? Ugh. And then if you said, we'll just work around this, we will bend our operations and spend our time serving the tool rather than the tool serving us. So if you're saying that more than 3 times in a quarter, Let's take a look at the tool and start your evaluation of whether it's fit for purpose or whether you need to get with the modern, as Cam was saying. So, tale of two contact centers, future ready versus future stuck. Cam's going to take us through what one is looks like versus the other.
Perfect. Thanks, Sean. And as Mr. Dickens says, it was the best of times and it was the worst of times. So starting with what we might consider the worst, we're calling that a future stuck company. So this was a customer we had a chat with. They were a popular mid-size e-commerce brand. They had about 120 agents within their support ecosystem, and they had been using what I would consider a legacy WFM platform. And they'd been on that platform for about 8 or 9 years at the point of this conversation. So not necessarily new to this world of actual WFM platforms, but maybe new to the world of modern, right? And that was one thing they were wanting to chat about. And one of the biggest shockers to me was that they spent a lot of money on an AI chat, agentic chat, and they launched it. And they were saying, "Oh, we're seeing we thought we were successful because of all these metrics." And then they walked into their executive suite and had a conversation, and they really got pressed on, well, what's the ROI here? What does this mean for us? They could not answer that question because they did not have a WFM tool that allowed them to track how this was impacting the support ecosystem. They were also struggling with integrating a new voice provider. They wanted to change their telephony system. They were on month 4 of just trying to set up the integration. I'm not talking about configuring it and having the data organized in a way that makes sense in WFM tool. I'm just talking about the simple connector between the platforms. They could not get that right, so they were blind to all that data. And then, like Sean mentioned earlier, they were unhappy with the scheduling functionality. So they decided to kick it old school, go back to a spreadsheet and pull it out there. So they were spending at least 1 8-hour day per week building a schedule for following weeks in advance. So that was kind of where they were at. The biggest thing that struck me again after we had that conversation about the AI piece was that they actually started looking at it and they just ran some numbers kind of outside of the tool. They were projecting that they were over scheduling by about 15 to 20% because AI was actually handling that portion of the business. They were scheduling agents to handle tasks that were already being handled by this really expensive agentic chat that they purchased. So that's the importance of having that orchestration layer and having that visibility, because you can know how these two things are orchestrating or working together and the push and pull of that relationship and what you need to do to accommodate it. Last but not least, you were seeing kind of their NPS scores were dropping during volume spikes because they weren't able to really adjust to those maybe one-off events like Sean was talking about, like a weather event if you're in the travel industry. So those were all things were very important to them. And one, too, that stuck out to me as well was that they were having a lot of attrition because of the tools that they were providing to the individuals that they were hiring. We all know it's very, very expensive to hire and onboard someone new. I think it's often overlooked how important the tool stack or tech stack that you have in place is to the happiness and the longevity of the employees that you have in place. But we've talked enough about the worst of times. Let's move over to the best, right? So this is a company that I would really consider future ready, at least as we're defining it today. The company's name is Thrashio. They are candidly a customer of Assembled, and they're an Amazon brand aggregator. So think about them very much in the same way you would think about Amazon. Cyber Monday, they get a huge spike. Black Friday, huge increase in business. They're really busy around the holidays. So anything that you know or could infer about how Amazon support might work, it's very much the same for Thrashio. They utilize Assembled for workforce management, and you can call it omnichannel agentic tools. So they have Copilot, where they have agent assistants in place. They also have agentic AI interacting with their customers on chat, email. So they're actually able to track everything in one unified system. One cool thing that they've done, and Sean was hitting on this earlier, they have model cost quality trade-offs. So they know how much it is for agentic AI to handle a chat. They also know what the CSAT is on those. And they have that bucketed out for different types of work. They also know what the human component costs, and they know where their humans excel and the AI doesn't, and vis-a-vis. So they can actually really do that push and pull to make sure they're putting the best resource forward. And to them, that might be the one with the best CSAT. Or in a different case, when they're spiking in volume, the best resources could be the one that is doing it for the cheapest and able to cover the most ground. So where that ties in is that they were actually able to go through Prime Day and not have to hire any emergency hiring, as they call it, ramping up to handle those big influxes in volume. They were able to intelligently understand what that volume looked like, create agentic type workflows. So the AI was handling a lot of that increase in volume that they were seeing. And their support operation was running, like it was a Monday in the middle of June, no big deal. And the big thing that this accomplished for them is that they were able to really start focusing on strategy. You would be amazed at the compounding interest of having a lot of smart people concentrating on how to make things better instead of just running around putting out fires. So when they didn't have to worry about surviving the day, they were actually able to start looking towards the future and really create this flywheel where their organization just kept getting better and better because they were able to put really concentrated thought on how to better themselves. And one thing I want to talk about here is that the difference is not the people. It's not the teams. They were both very smart, very capable, very well intentioned, very hardworking. This really boiled down to that the first company I talked about, the worst of times, they were limited by their infrastructure. The best of times, they actually were enabled by their infrastructure. And I think that's really the big difference. And if you want to make this case or take it to the leadership team, you can really see some of the differences we've seen here. So company A, the one that was limited, they were actually spending 15 to 20% more on labor costs. And we're just looking at one small facet of that return on investment. They were spending more after they already spent more on an AI tool. So you can imagine that conversation not go over well. Flip side of that, company B, they're saving about 1.8 million annually by being able to understand what is the best resource from a cost perspective, from a CSAT perspective, and really be the I guess the man behind the curtain. Wicked 2 just came out, right? They are really able to pull those levers and give the best experience to their end users while also providing the best combination of those things to the business, what makes the most sense for them as well. And the reason that this becomes even more important is because we're going to talk about a few Gartner research quotes that we pulled out was that 95% of support leaders plan to retain human agents. So like Sean said earlier, we do not believe that AI is taking all of the jobs and it's going to get rid of the human component. The human component, in my mind, will always be there. And this becomes important because now you need to understand how the human and the AI piece interact together. And the reason that's so important is on this next quote is because workforce planning has become more difficult than ever because of it. I can tell you this in 15 to 20 years of sales experience, workforce managers are some of the most capable, intelligent, hardworking people I've met. From a sales perspective, you all have put me through my paces and made me have to step up to the plate and try to learn your job so I can understand what you're doing to be able to better sell the tool. It is not an easy job, and it is just going to get more difficult as AI becomes more prevalent because you're going to have to understand the impact it's having on the organization and how you want to offset that with your people piece. So being able to have a tool that gives you that single pane of glass, as Sean called it earlier, to help you understand like how to rebalance, how to retrain, and how to upskill your people to make sure you're putting your dollars and cents in the best place possible. And really, I know we have about 5 minutes left, so I want to move into kind of the conclusions or takeaways piece. And I'm going to actually pass it back over to Sean. I think he'd be the best person to walk us through this and really tie the bow on the present as we go into the holiday season.
Awesome. What have we learned today? That AI makes WFM more critical, not redundant, and the way that you can create a competitive advantage for yourself is to learn and enact that AI orchestration between the human and the AI part. Watch out for systems that are breaking under the AI and omnichannel demands, which are not going to get any easier. And think about future-ready companies like Cam was just describing that are saving up to $500,000 to $2 million annually. Think about your 5 non-negotiables: hybrid orchestration, omnichannel support, real-time intelligence, extensibility of the system, and speed to value. You're going to want to do all of that. And we've got some homework for you as well. 3 questions to ask yourself this week. Can your WFM system handle AI strategy, whether you have one now or you think you're going to get one? Can it track the AI and humans together? Can it model cost and quality trade-offs? Can it tell you what your AI ROI is? Second question, are you in firefighting or optimization mode? And we think about the meme with the dog in the burning house that says, this is fine, this is fine. It's time to snap out of that and say, am I having to do lots of manual workarounds? Can I answer executive questions in minutes as opposed to days? That kind of thing. Am I frustrated or excited to use that tool? And then what's the cost of waiting? The longer you wait, the more manual hours you're going to rack up across the year, missed opportunities for improved CSAT, and putting yourself at a competitive disadvantage. So please think of those things as you go forward this week. And if you have any questions about how that works, as Cam said earlier, reach out to us. We are happy to answer those and talk to you about what your individual situation is. Cam, anything, parting thoughts before we run out of time?
All good on my end, Sean. I just want to again tell everyone thank you. It was a pleasure having you today, and appreciate you all being here.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate your time.
And Vicki, was there anything you would like to share as we wrap up?
Well, I just wanted to get on and say thank you guys for this great information. I don't see contact information for you guys on this slide, so maybe if you want to put that in the chat for your contact information in case anybody needs to get in touch with you, that would be great. I hope that those 3 go back to that slide if you can on the 3 questions to ask this week, because I feel like that's really important. And if people have time to do that and spend some time with that, we are at the holidays and maybe we have too much to do, or maybe we have a little downtime, but look at those questions and be able to ask those questions of your leaders and give them your answers, because it'd be a really great idea to have in your back pocket what you think the answer is, but let the leaders start thinking about it as well. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions that they're wanting to put in the chat? Okay, so I'm seeing some a lot of thank yous and a lot of fantastic conversations. Thank you. So, all right. Well, if I don't see any other questions, again, you can reach out to Sean or to Cam, or just go to assembled.com. And we really appreciate you being with us today. Happy holidays to everybody, and we will see you again soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.